by pledging a vow of perpetual chastity right before his baptism. He eventually became a priest and then a bishop. In his life as well, he suffered a lot. And great as he was in his life, great was him even at his death. The proconsuls who was ruling then had ordered that Cyprian be taken to him. And he summoned the Christians, and they went to face the proconsul. And the judgment was passed that he was to die by the sword. And when this was decided, it did not change him. Rather, on the way to the place of his execution, the soldiers formed a guard of honor to the bishop, who advanced calmly, surrounded by his clergy, on the day of a solemnity. There was deep emotion in the crowd, and from the enemies who assembled to witness the persecution. The hour had come, and he prayed, prostrate, lying on the ground. And after that, he ordered 25 pieces of gold be given to the executioner. Then he took away his tunic, gave it to the deacon who was around, and then gave his hands to the priest, and the subdeacon was there, and they bound his hands and his feet. And then he took a bandage and put it around his face, while the people spread their linen clothes around him to receive his blood. Not until he told the executioner to lay down the sword did he lower his sword, and Cyprian died. It was on September 14th in the year 258. The story of these two men is so great for us and a great lesson for us today. Why would they accept death for following Jesus? They knew what it meant to become Christians. To be a Christian is to make a choice of embracing Christ. And this choice is made every day, despite the hardships. These are the people who accepted to be defined by the word of Jesus. They accepted to be defined by the gospel. And they were willing to live this gospel no matter the hardships. Nothing would have shaken them from abandoning Christ. And they said, yes, if following Christ means dying, we are ready. It is so good that this is coming today, when many of us cannot even bear to suffer a bit for Christ. We don't want to lose anything for Christ. People want to become Christians, but we just want an easy life. We have many people who go to churches because they are not interested in following Jesus, but because their interest is just to be there, just to be in the church. But when a demand of standing with Christ is made, most of them disappear. And this reminds me of a story of a young man, of a king. And this king had his daughter, and the daughter wanted to get married. So she broke the news to his father that I would like to get married. So, like a good father, he asked who the man was. But the girl said that she had not found any man. Then was like, but then how do you want to get married? Then it occurred to the father that he was the one to look for the man to marry his girl. And the king could not bring himself to thinking of who it would be, because there were many young men who kept on hovering around his home many days, so he didn't know which one. So he decided to have to call an interview, and therefore he put posters all over announcing that there would be an interview for those who would be interested in marrying the daughter of the king. And the day came, and so many young men assembled, and just before the hour of the interviews, he got out to announce the rules of the interview. And he said, "He who is going to marry my daughter must be the one who will accept that his teeth be knocked down, one after the other." And many of them could not, I mean, how do I accept my teeth be knocked down? So a group of young men left. But there are others who said, well, let's try our luck. And they tried. So the first guy got in, had his first 2 teeth knocked out, and he said, oh no, don't knock another one. Then came the second, he lost 5, 6, 7, he said, no, no more. Then at the end, there were 2 guys. And so they began saying, it is either you or me. It is you or me. So if you get in and you are unable, then I must do it. So the first guy got in. He had his 10th tooth knocked out, the 21st, the 30th. And because he was shouting around and crying around, the guy who was outside disappeared. So this young man lost his 31st tooth. But just before he lost the 32nd, he said, oh no, I cannot bear this. And he disappeared as well. So, as to how this girl got the man to marry him, that we'll do next week. What we know is that Jesus is there ready for us. The question is, are we willing to lose all our teeth for Christ? We started this journey, many of us, wanting to embrace Christ. He is the only one of the Father. And when we began this journey, a few of us did not even wait. When the journey began, when they realized what it meant to follow Christ, they just disappeared. Others waited until 2 of the teeth were knocked and they left. Others are going to wait until the 31st. They will still disappear. The question is, are you willing to lose all your teeth for Christ? If this young man had persevered, if he married the daughter of the king, that meant he had all the wealth, so it would have been easier even for him to get medical attention quickly and even get another set of pairs of teeth, even if he wanted teeth of gold. So it all depends with whether we want to embrace Christ. And once we choose to embrace Christ, we are sure of one thing, that all that we need in life we will have. The unfortunate thing is, we may continue coming to the church many days, many times, but probably it may happen that just before our last tooth will be knocked, we will disappear. Your last tooth could be that probably I could lose my mother or my parents. And maybe that could be my position of disappearing and saying, Christ, for this one, no. Probably losing your brother or your sister, losing your only child, losing your job, whatever it is. But are we going to make a choice for Christ? And you know, when we make a choice to live for Christ, then we have made the best choice. That is why those who have embraced Christ in their life, it does not mean that in life there are no hardships, but they are able to face the hardships, because it is this Christ who is leading, and when Christ is leading, we are sure that everything will be okay. And I like the image that John paints in chapter 6 of the book of Revelation, when there are the story of the 4 horses, and there is the white horse, and there is a man sitting on the white horse, and the man sitting on the white horse is having a bow, and he's having a crown on his head, and he goes out to conquer, and he goes out conquering. And the explanation is that that man sitting over there is Christ. Christ is leading the war. He has the bow on his hands, leading the war against the other 3 horses that represent the evil of the world. to be a Christian.